Welcome back to the Big Lab podcast. In this episode, I speak to Sean. Now, Sean is an in-person personal trainer who's going above and beyond to expand his knowledge and qualifications in order to work alongside the NHS to deal with GP referral clients with special medical conditions. Sean also has a big passion for photography and videography, and we talk about how he balances that around his busy day-to-day personal training business. Hope you enjoy this one. Now I'll let you get on with the episode. Sean, welcome to the Big Lab podcast. How are we doing?
Not too bad. How are yourself?
Not too bad, mate. It's been a while since we actually worked out. Was it 3 years ago? 2 years ago?
Yeah, it was like just after lockdown, I think, when the gyms just reopened.
Yeah, it's been a while. We've tried to sort stuff out like since, but calendars just haven't lined up.
That's just me, I'm just a nightmare. I'm not ignoring you or anything, it's just I'm an absolute nightmare to plan stuff around life.
Yeah, I'm not too far off the same, to be honest. It's busy. Got work, PT, podcast, football, and then you've got to try and work out around all that as well, haven't you?
Yeah. Are you still doing the accountant?
Yes, yeah. So Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, I'm a project accountant, and then I have everything else on top of it.
You got a new job, didn't you? I'm sure you said...
Yeah, last year.
End of last year, yeah.
Yeah. So about June last year, so it's coming up to a year that I've been in it. It's flown by, to be quite honest. It's quite worrying. This year's especially. Week after week is just flying, as if we're in nearly the end of April already.
I'd say the busier you get, the more you realise like you don't even look at your watch all the time, and that's it. Before you know it, it's like 2 weeks later and you're like...
Yeah, it is mad. So for the listeners and watchers at home, would you like to give yourself a little introduction about what you are, what you do?
Yeah, so I'm a bit of everything really. PT, photographer, videographer, PT for the NHS, and yeah, that's pretty much about it. So it's not everything, but it is quite a lot. So
makes you busy at least.
I've got my hands pretty full on at the minute, especially with just trying to get my photography business out there as well.
So you started the PT first, didn't you? And that's in gym. Yeah. So how did that start, and when did you start that?
That was about, coming up about 5 years, technically 4 years if you take COVID out of it, because that was a good year out of work really. So yeah, I've just planned everything really from start to finish. So when I left retail, I worked in JD for about 5 years. I was in and out of there because I hated it, so I left, went to another job. Pretty much if someone works in JD who's listening to this, they'll probably left as well. So they left and they'll come back and then they'll go back again. But you'll find with retail you just get comfortable because it's easy work and it's like okay money for what you do. Yeah. So I left and then what did I do from there? So yeah, then I worked in a coffee shop. So I used to go to Starbucks quite regularly. Worked in there for about 6 months, and then within that 6 months I kind of realised I kind of wanted to work for myself. I've realised every job I've been in hasn't been horrendous. It's just been, I don't like working for someone. I don't like being under someone else's shoes. This is why I moved out with my parents and that. I just couldn't do it. So I applied for an apprenticeship in business management. So that was more like a safety call, because I always wanted to kind of do PT when I left school. So when going back to school, I got bullied quite a lot. I'm just going through that typical story where the gym kind of helps you, and so one of my mates basically took me to a little leisure centre, started training from there, and then I kind of fell in love with it. So me having self-employed in my head or working for myself, and then gym, I was like, I'll try and do that. But 5 years ago, it probably wasn't a massive thing. Now it's like everyone's trying to be a PT. But 5 years ago, it was great. But I kind of thought of it quite carefully, so I didn't go for the online option. So I went to a lot of online companies and basically asked the questions, and they kind of didn't realise what they were kind of saying when I was asking them questions. I feel like they just kept going like they didn't actually have a clue what they were talking about. They just wanted to sell the product and that's it. But I went to this place in Durham, which was like more of a one-to-one. So I went to go and speak to them, kind of going in thinking they're just going to say exactly the same as the online people. But the way they were coming across was, they kind of want PTs to start talking to people a bit better, as in like, because that is PT work. Anyone can go and pass a PT course, like anyone can. It's just GCSE biology. So it's how they actually come across with people. So me having the retail job, Starbucks job, working in this business manager job, I kind of worked with a hell of a lot more, like a bigger variety of people. So I thought, right, so that's kind of like put me forward of actually how to speak to people. I'm probably not making much sense now because I'm quite nervous on here, but so they I was pretty sold straight away. So they were kind of saying they want more PTs to kind of master the practical side of it, which was actually how to explain exercises, how to make people comfortable face to face. Because this day and age, people can't really speak to people very well face to face. Everything's on phones. Like you can DM people absolutely brilliantly, but as soon as you start speaking to someone, you're like, do you know what I mean? So obviously my confidence talking to people grew massively just through that. So I passed that course, but within like maybe a month before I qualified, I got all my logos done. I got like 4 clients signed up straight away, and I got in touch with a private gym, well, it's like semi-private gym on Scottswood Road, which is Collard's gym, Adam Collard's gym, Sculpt.
Right.
So I got in touch with him. So obviously I knew him since school, so it was kind of a good way to kind of me get into the PT world. But commercial gyms, I've never really took my business through that, just because with private gyms it's a hell of a lot nicer for a client to come to a PT, I think, through a private gym, so it's not as busy. And I feel like if you're paying quite a premium price for something, like a private gym is quite a nice option. But obviously not everyone can afford private, so they obviously 9 times out of 10 people go to a commercial gym, plus you get your memberships and stuff, but we can talk about that later on. But yeah, it's going off topic there, but what was I saying? So yeah, obviously once the apprenticeship was 3 years, this business management thing, and yeah, within, I think it was the second year I qualified completely as a personal trainer. So I did kind of both. I did office 9 to 5, straight to a gym, doing my PT clients, and then I was staying till about 11 o'clock. Me and my best mate would kind of like help each other out. He was coming to the gym at 10 o'clock at night, filming all my content for social media, and then back again 6 o'clock in the morning, PT till 8 o'clock, and then 9 to 5, and then back. It was just constantly filing. It was a good solid 8 months I was doing that for. But I knew for a fact, I was like, I want to get this qualification from business management. I want to get that ticked off, and then, and yeah. So then once I got my certificate, I remember I was actually sitting on my lunch break, and I was like, right, there's actually no need for me to be here right now. So when I went to speak to the manager, he knew exactly what I was going to say, because we had a meeting every single week, and the first thing he said was, how's your PT going? Like, he didn't ask about my job. Like, he just said, like, oh, how's my PT going and stuff. And then everyone in that office was just like, go and do what you want to do. Like, so I literally went on my lunch break, spoke to my team. I was like, look, I'll help you out today, but like, today's my last day. Like, I'm not coming back. Literally, I left that day, and then I had to break it to my parents. My parents are actually not that bothered about it, to be fair. I sat down with them properly. They were like, well, you're still living at home. You got nothing to lose. Like, you got no commitments, really. So I was like, I didn't actually expect them. My mum was a typical mum. She was just a bit like, oh, he's not going to have a very comfortable career. But they knew I was kind of like switched on, and I've got this mindset where I just don't stop. Like, I can't actually sit and do nothing. Like, I'm pretty sure I've got ADHD. Like, so I just can't sit still. Like, I have to do something. So yeah, once I left the office job, I was like, oh crap, I've got all these hours now. I was like, I went from like 4 hours a day to then like, do you know what I mean? So I went from 6 till 8 and then 6 till 8 on a night time. Throughout the day, I actually had nothing to do. So that was a good way of kind of like getting my name out there a bit more. And yeah, it just grew massively for some reason. For the first like 5 months, it just like, I got clients after clients after clients. I think just the way I like marketed myself, and just, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I think, like you say, like,
right down, but
so like you say though, you've had those jobs in retail and things like that, so you've got that personal connection, which I think a lot of PTs genuinely do struggle with, especially the younger ones coming up. Like you said, a lot of them live through the phones DMing each other, but then as soon as they meet up in person, they don't know how to have a conversation. Whereas you've had that almost practical experience of being in retail, working in a Starbucks, speaking to people on a daily basis, and different people.
Starbucks was very businessy. Like, I thought the customers that went to JD were hard, like your typical like chav type. You know what I mean? Like, you get loads of different type of variety of people in there. But Starbucks was just very businessy, and they were a hell of a lot harder to talk to than the customers in JD.
Right.
Just out of like rudeness, to be honest with you. Like, there were so many business people going to Starbucks and just being so rude to you, so you had to kind of like alter your personality to suit them. But I was a nightmare, because I'd put my personality to like how they would, if that makes sense. As in, like, if they ignored me, I would ignore them. But like, the manager couldn't sack me because I was really good at talking to the customers on, like, cause I worked on the drive-through quite a bit. Right. And I used to get told off for talking them too much, because I think on the drive-through they've got like a time of how quick that you have to go around. So I was just chatting away, man. Like, that was the only thing I was good at. So she couldn't really sack me for being rude to them, because I set them all. It was like, for instance, like, someone used to come up to the desk and be on the phone, and then be like, "Oh, can I have such and such?" And then be on the phone. So I'll just walk away. And he says, "Excuse me, like, you've just walked away." I was like, "Well, yeah, you're on your phone." Like, taught me after. Oh, I was brutal. But I was like, and that was like a kind of a light switch where I was like, nah, this is not for me. This, like,
yeah, it doesn't sound like it.
Nah, I hate getting told what to do. I hate, like, I don't like it at all. So, but yeah.
So you were pretty stacked from the beginning then. So you obviously had your PT going on in the morning and the evenings, and then bang in the middle of 9 to 5. Like, what was the original reason for you actually signing up for that apprenticeship, if you knew sort of from then that you didn't actually want to go anywhere with it?
It was more just for safety, really, in case my PT didn't work out, so I could go back into that job if I want to. Even now, if, like, my business, if my PT career went down the line, I could potentially go back into that, and then, because I've got the qualification, do you know what I mean? So it was more just like, I was kind of thinking ahead. And then another reason why I kind of dropped out of that was because I was making a little bit more money for my PT than I was in my job. Okay. So I kind of made, it was quite good timing, to be honest with you. So, like, obviously I pushed myself quite a lot to get the extra clients. Obviously on a weekend I work 9 to 5, so my weekends were free. So I could get, like, I think I had about 4 or 5 clients on a Saturday. So, like, the money that I generated from PT was exactly the same what I was winning from my apprenticeship. So then I was like, I didn't technically need the PT one because I was still living at home, and it was just extra cash really to, like, put away for, like, website design, my logos, and all that kind of stuff. So, do you know what I mean? So as soon as I made that money, I was like, right, I can leave that, and then I can kind of stick with the PT money. So
yeah, it makes sense to have a safety net. Like, me personally, obviously I have my PT outside of my day job.
Yeah.
If the PT doesn't go well, I've got my day job, and I'm not. Yeah. Well, I say I'm not too busy, but I am pretty busy on a day-to-day basis, especially with now the podcast coming back. But I think a lot of people make excuses these days that they've not got enough time to do things, and it's literally like people that say, "I've not got enough time to go to the gym," when all they do is a day job, and then just go and get drunk on a Friday, Saturday, but they don't have enough time. Yet they make time every night to watch the favourite show at 8, 9 o'clock. And I'm like, you have more than enough time to get stuff done.
People get it in their head to think, oh, I'm going to do this, but they don't actually do it.
No.
Like, but I was, like, hungry. I know it sounds really cringe, but I was, like, proper hungry to, like, work for myself, and I could potentially make a hell of a lot more money doing what I do now than working in an office 9 to 5. And it's just it just wasn't for me. Like, my lifestyle just wasn't good for me sitting behind a desk working on Excel spreadsheets. I just didn't like doing it. Like, obviously for you, like, yours is different because, like, it's a good job, do you know what I mean? But the job I had, it was just no, like, there was just no career path for me unless I had to work years and years to get up to the top. But then, do you know what I mean? But
see, that was the thing with me before I got my new job last year. I did sort of weigh it up, like how many clients I would need to sort of replace my day wage, and I started doing it, and I was like, I actually don't need all that much. And it, obviously with the extra time of getting rid of my day job, it wouldn't have been too bad. But then I got my new job and I got a pay rise and everything, and then I actually have a career path with it now. Like, I've got sort of steps in place to get to the next level and things like that. So it's a bit harder for me to weigh up now. But you never know, it could happen in the future. But at the moment, I'm pretty happy with my day job and the way that's going. Sort of stepping up in career with obviously now the podcast and PT on the side of that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you sound like you have, like, a good paid job. But with mine, there was just, it started off really small, and then it would take years to go up a little bit. It wasn't just like, do you know what I mean? So that's another thing I looked at. I was just like, I've got to be at least 30. I would have had to wait maybe 5 or 6 years to even be on, like, livable money. But probably back then we didn't realise the recession was going to happen. Do you know what I mean? So probably I think I've just done I think I've made the right choice, I think.
Yeah, I mean, before I had all my PT stuff and that, I started off on, like, apprenticeship wage, so I know the sort of wages we're talking about, and it's not great. Yeah. And a couple of years in, it's all right, but then, like, it's just that initial bit. Like, now I look back at it and I'm like, how did I afford to do anything on that wage?
Yeah.
It's mental.
It's everything's just expensive, man. It's hard.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
Life's expensive now. But so do you just fully do in-person PT, or do you do online as well on the side of that?
Yeah, in-person PT. So I've tried to do online, but I've looked at this way. There's that many online coaches now. Like, what makes me stand out from the rest? That's what I've kind of realised. I was just like, I'm not going to waste my time. Plus, I like going to work. I like going and having that one-to-one connection. That's the whole reason why I was sold on my PT course, was because I like working with people. I hate working with people, if that makes sense, but I like working with people, if that makes sense. Like, I hate working with the public. That's what I kind of say. But working closely with a client, like, it's nice. Plus, I couldn't sit. I left a desk job and I couldn't sit at a desk job if I was doing online coaching. Do you know what I mean? So it just wouldn't make sense. But I just think personal training is just, I think getting an online coach, like, I think it's good for some people, but I think 9 times out of 10, I think people, if they can afford it, they would much rather do in-person PT and actually get that person looking at you not 24/7, but like all the time. Do you know what I mean? So
I think, like you say, there's pros and cons to it. Like, obviously everyone's different, so someone might work better with an in-person, someone might work better with an online coach. I think the online side of things obviously opens it up to the whole world. So, like, I've got clients that have been in Cyprus. There's a guy who I've just signed up who's from America, but he's now like in the UAE with the Navy. So, like, it opens it up that way. But obviously you get that more intimate connection with someone if you're working on a one-to-one basis in a gym. So it is pros and cons, obviously. Like, it's going to work differently for everyone. Yeah.
I just think my mindset, I couldn't do the online coaching. Like I said, I've got nothing for me stands out more than, say, like you. Do you know what I mean? Like, if someone came to me, say, online coaching, I'd be like, just go to someone else who's been doing it for longer than me. Same with group training. Like, I've tried group training, but I could name 10 PTs off the top of my head right now that is a hell of a lot more experienced than me. I would just say, just go to them. Like, do you know what I mean? So, but with my one-to-one, I'm starting to like go into like the NHS route. So I'm doing my GP referral, I'm doing my lower back spinal course. Like, I'm doing more specialised things. Just because it makes me stand out a little bit more. So, but yeah, so there's that many PTs out there that are level 3. And then I'm in that position, which I've said about online coaches, like, what makes them stand out from another level PT that is in another gym. So for me, I was like, do you know what, I want to help people that actually really do need like help, do you know what I mean, when it comes to like conditions. Instead of just like, I want to come in and drop two dress sizes. Like, it doesn't interest me anymore. So I like digging deep into different people. So it means like I'm looking more into that one individual. I'm kind of getting into their medication. I'm getting into like their past injuries or any chronic diseases that they may have. So my job at the minute is not to like fix them, it's like to prolong the diseases, because obviously with chronic it's never gonna get better, do you know what I mean? You're just gonna maintain it. That's what I like about it. When they drop their kids off to the school or anything like that, or their day-to-day job's getting better because of me, that makes me 10 times happier than me saying, right, you've lost 2 stone. It's like, yay.
There's nothing better than receiving those messages, is there?
Oh, it's much better, especially when they come in and say, oh, like, my knee's 10 times better today, like, because I've been working with you for 3 or 4 months. Like, there you go, done my job. I can go home happy. But me losing, like, doing like a fat loss thing now, it just doesn't interest me. Like, so
with those courses that you're doing, so the GP referral one, and then I think was it the back one that you said?
Yeah, so it's like it's same with PT, level 2 and level 3, or level 2 you can't do your level 3 without your level 2. So the GP is like your level 2. It's level 3 diploma, but you can't go into the special side of it without doing that course. You can't do lower back, you can't do diabetes, you can't. Do you know what I mean? So
what do those courses allow you to do then? Like, what do they teach you about? Because I've seen them, but I don't actually know what that sort of opens you up to.
So you get an actual doctor, like, on these online. This is all online, but you do the practical in person, or you can do them online. But I've always chose to pay to do it in person, so I had to travel all the way down to York and do my practicals and stuff. But they basically teach you about medications, but they teach you about the side effects of the medications and how that's going to help whatever disease that they've got, like hypertension, type 2, type 1 diabetes, all that kind of stuff. And then so they basically teach you how to adapt the training around them. Say for like hypertension, all that kind of stuff, like high blood pressure, you can only do certain exercises, you can't put anything above heads and all that kind of stuff, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you've just got to work around that, and then they teach you how to do an initial consultation. So when it comes to GP referral, 9 times out of 10, the clients don't want to exercise.
Yeah.
So what happens is when you go to the GP says, right, you need to lose weight. And they're like, what? So when right, we're going to set you up with this PT, they don't really want to go there because they think exercise is not going to help.
Yeah.
So you've got to then change their mindset and think, right, exercise will help you.
Yeah, and show them how it's going to benefit them.
And just basically, it's usually like a 12-week scheme that they're usually on. And then after the 12 weeks, it's up to them whether they want to stay on or not. So you basically got 12 weeks to kind of turn them around and just make them better people, really.
So this is the stuff that you're on about with going down the NHS route. So you're basically now like a NHS referred PT, essentially.
Yeah. So I can work around local GPs around the area. So my name is in different GPs now. 9 times out of 10, you get a lot of self-referrals. Like, you don't get many GP referrals.
Right.
Just because the NHS is struggling with funds and stuff. So it's like a lot of people have like self-referrals. So I've just took on 3 people who have self-referrals, who have got like issues in like their bones and all that kind of stuff. And then they've went through it with me.
And obviously you're saying that this side of thing now is the thing that you want to go into deeper, so you want to help people out with those chronic issues and potential injuries that they've had in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just find it more interesting, and it kind of makes me do my job instead of just going like, right, 4 reps left. Yeah, right, I'm going to the next one, you got 3 sets of 10. It's just like, I've done it now, like I haven't done it for that long, but I've spent a lot of hours on the gym floor. So basically my goal is to specialise into the job that I'm in now, and work with specific types of people that actually really do need my help, and lower my hours but then up my price. Right. So this is what I've done. So when I'm older, I don't want to be working on the gym floor for ages and staying.
I was just about to say, is this something that you can see yourself doing long term?
Yeah. So long term, yes, because I feel like it's more of a, like when people say now, like, oh, what do you do for a living? I say like, I'm a PT, but I'll help with chronic diseases. They go, oh, I haven't actually heard about that before. If I just say I'm a PT, they just think instantly like I'm a PT working in a commercial gym. Now, do you know what I mean? But I've actually went, like I've paid money to do these extra qualifications, and I've got an interest in 9 times 10. It's older people between like 40 and 80. That's what I'm kind of dealing with, not anyone younger. Other than diabetes, like I've just took on someone who's got diabetes and he's like early 20s.
Right.
So yeah, that's what I kind of want to do. Hence why photography. I've kind of thought I can push that a bit more if I lower my hours. But yeah.
So just before we touch on the photography side of thing then, we mentioned just before we hit record on this podcast that we were going to talk about the sort of differences and benefits between private and commercial gym.
Yeah.
I imagine one of the main things, obviously, benefiting commercial is price. You're usually getting a commercial gym 100%. For, 20 quid a month, and then your PT is probably going to cost you about 20, 30 quid an hour, I imagine.
Yeah.
What sort of prices are you looking at, and benefits, obviously, for being in the private gym? Obviously, one of them's it's not rammed full of people at 5 o'clock.
So you've got a hell of a lot more to sell when it comes to a private gym. So if I worked in JD, yes, you've got the benefits of everyone walking through the door. Like, you've got people walking through the door constantly. Yeah. But I'm not a very pushy salesman. Like, that's what PT is. You are technically a salesman as well. You have to do a sales job before you get them. Yeah. I'm just not that type of person to go up to someone and be like pushy, saying like, "Oh, you need a hand? Like, I'm a PT. Here's my business card. Blah blah." I'm just not into that. Like, so that's another reason why I didn't go down that route. Plus, I think with the private gym, you get your own set of keys. You can go in whenever you want. You can film content. You can. And it's just when people say like, "Oh, why is your price so high?" or whatever, it's because like, right, you've got a private gym, it's just me and you. You've got maybe 2 or 3 other people in there with you, and that's instantly like a light bulb to someone. They go, "Oh, I feel," because 9 times out of 10 when people go to PT, they do feel self-conscious. They don't know what to do, and I think if you're paying for, like, you are paying quite a lot of money. Even when you go to a JD gyms or peer gyms, you are still paying a good whack of money. When you could just go yourself, or you could get an online coach that could take you through it. Do you know what I mean? So, just private gyms, I think it's just a hell of a lot nicer to sell. You can go in, do whatever you want. The downsides about it, you can't really go in without a membership, so it's purely just one-to-one. But that's the route I wanted to take. I wanted to be just a one-to-one coach. I thought, right, we'll do that. But obviously the price is probably the big thing, and then how busy it is.
Yeah.
And plus, the way I do it is I don't really post my clients all over my stories. I put the occasional one on, like my younger ones, but my older clients, they don't really have Instagram, they don't have Facebook. So I say to them, I don't put you all of my social media. Like, this is private for a reason. No one knows you're here. As long as you're coming to see me and I'm coming to see you, that doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? Like, yes, it's good to get my name out there. I totally get it, to film my story, to film people and then them to put them on their stories. But the route I've got a bit of a niche of kind of like, with those all the clients don't want to put on their stories. That's why I put my younger ones on, so then they do. But then I'm not at the end of the world. I'm like, you don't have to put on your story if you don't want to. It just shows that I've got some clients. do you know what I mean?
That you're still actually working.
Yeah.
But with the older clients, you'll find that most of the stuff with them would be like word of mouth referrals, wouldn't it? Because like you say, they don't actually have social media to begin with. So even though you're not putting them on your stories, they're probably going out saying, "Oh, I've been working with Sean today."
Yeah. And I think just price-wise, it's not a massive difference now. I think obviously, I think you're probably looking between 30 and 35 an hour when you come to a commercial gym. You're looking at 35 plus. So if you're doing blocks of like 8 or 10 or whatever, it's like maybe an extra 60, 70 quid a month. I know it sounds quite a lot, but if you're going to really invest into it medium to long term,
and for what you're getting as
just
well.
look at your funds, and I think I want to try the private gym. And honestly, 9 times out of 10, honestly, people come in, and I'll keep saying that, but I think I've said that loads, like 9 times out of 10, but it's like every person that's came into the gym now, they came in and went, oh wow, like it's dead and it's really clean and professional. Like you would have seen the
I've seen your stories. You work across 2 gyms, don't you? Or you were working across 2. You had Graft and the other one.
Hema.
I can't remember.
Hema Fitness. So I'm in a private and a semi-private. So basically that gives the option of 2 gyms for people, but the semi-private one isn't really commercial. It's like a friends and family gym. Yeah. It's a little bit cheaper, but basically the whole story was I worked in the private gym. I went to this new gym. It was a massive risk I took because it was quite a lot of money for me to work in the private gym. So when I first worked there, I set my price at a certain price point, but it wasn't high enough. But I didn't say to myself, why am I charging this? Because I've got nothing. Because I was only a level 3 PT. Yeah. So the guys in there were like, you need to charge like 40, 50 quid an hour. And I was just like, I've got no reason to. Like, I'm not worth that yet. So this is why I went, right. Because basically the rent's expensive in a private gym. That's the downside for PTs. The more hours you work, the more rent you pay. So when you go into a commercial gym, you're looking at between £500 a month. So if you've got 2 clients, you're not even making any profit. Do you know what I mean? So that's why then you work your 16 hours a week. But I don't want to work for free. Anyone that's listening to this, do not work for free in a commercial gym. Like, it is a complete and utter waste of time.
Picking up people's weights and
complete waste of time. Like, I do not agree with it, and I think commercial gyms should absolutely knock that on the head. I really don't agree with it at all. They should give them like the 16 hours wage, even if it's like minimum wage. They should just give them something. But I'm not getting into that in case anyone says something about it. But yeah, it's like I just don't agree with it. So that's why I went to the private gym. But the good thing about private gyms is why I'm saying if anyone is starting new to be a PT, is starting a private gym, because you don't have that big number to chase every single month. If you work 2 hours a week and say the gym charges you £8 an hour, 16 quid a week. If you're charging like 30, 40 pound an hour, you're winning. Like, do you know what I mean? So you gotta look at that way, but obviously you've got to look, is there any good private gyms? Because a private gym could be a bit naff. The equipment could be terrible. Like, so you got to look at that way as well. So I'm quite lucky in a way that this little private gym that I'm at now, no one even knows where it is. Like, no one knows what it is, like, but it's absolutely amazing. Like, the equipment there is like top quality. And then so
I think you say as well, like, obviously you're trying to work with these people with chronic illnesses and things like that. They're obviously going to be some of them I imagine are going to be quite insecure going into a commercial setting. So that's an even bigger plus for those type of clients to go into the private gym as well. Absolutely. But the downside about which I didn't really think of, is when I qualify as a GP referral, the NHS obviously doesn't have a lot of money to give out. So if I'm putting my own prices in a private gym, they can't match my prices, so they have to give them a shorter price, but then I've also got to then pay the rent
on top of that.
Right.
So like I'm back to square one that I was 3 years ago. This is why I'm saying you don't get a lot of GP referrals these days because of just how the NHS is dealing with everything at the minute. So you get a lot of self-referrals, but it's just good to have that qualification because people are like, ooh, I don't actually know anyone that has that. And yeah, it obviously just shows that you've went out your way and you care that you've actually done extra qualifications. You haven't just done your level 3 PT and that's it.
Yeah, like you said earlier, it's like so easy to do it. Like I did mine on the side of working as well. I probably took a bit longer than most people to do it, but it is so basic. Like, and like you're saying before, like a lot of the new PTs, especially the younger ones going into these commercial gyms, they don't last, quite a lot of them, because they don't have any of those like communication skills like at all. So they're going in there not knowing even how to sell a business at maybe 18 with some of the most basic qualifications I think you can possibly get.
They think it's an easy way out, being a PT. Yeah. It's not like... It used to be a bit easier 5 years ago, but now they're everywhere. Yeah. Like, everywhere. But if you're 18, like, you've got to have I don't know what age group they will go for 18-year-olds. Like, a 35-year-old bloke is not going to go with an 18-year-old lad. That's
so most likely you've had 3 years of gym experience yourself.
Exactly.
Tops, really.
So what you'll get is you get friends that join you just to support you, but then them friends are just like the same age, and financially they're not going to stick with you for months. They're going to stick with me for a month, and that's it.
Yeah. Like I'm now 27. I couldn't imagine, like I've never had a PT myself actually, but I couldn't now imagine going to PT at 18, going, hey, do you want to do a workout plan for me? Like, no chance. It must be so hard for those younger people. I mean, don't get me wrong. I was speaking to a PT on here a couple of weeks ago. She's now 21, I think. But she started out when she was like 18, 19, and quite a lot of her friends were the ones that supported her to begin with. But now she's obviously she's got a good personality, to be honest, to be actually working on the gym floor and things like that. So that's a massive.
That is all PT is, personality.
Yeah.
Like that's what, like, if you think about one-to-one is a very personal experience. They're not going there for, they are going for your service, but they're going for the social aspect of it. Yeah. If you don't have any good crack and you can't speak to people like this, like just dead easy, then they're just not going to. Do you know what I mean? Like you've got to, speaking to someone for an hour is really hard, especially hour after hour after hour. If you have 4 people back to back, you have to go in and be like all bubbly and like, do you know what I mean? Which it's hard to do. Like at the end of the day, I'm like. Like I'm just knackered. Like I'm knackered, but I can't switch off. So by the time I get home now, boom, I'm straight on to doing my photography stuff because I want to get that out and about. So I'm back to like square one with that. Like I'm classing my PT job now as my office job, but not as in like I don't like it. As in like I'm trying to get my PT on the side, my photography on the side to match with my PT, and then I'm not going to quit my PT, but I'm going to then, which I've said before, I'm going to try and do like a 50-50 or a 60-40 split. Yeah. That's the plan. Like
so. Talking about the photography, then. So, where did the passion for photography, the videography, and editing all come from? Like, how did that all start?
I've always been interested since I was like miniature. I've always been interested in just like the creative aspect of like photography. Videography, not so much, but photography. I've always been interested in it, and that's what's helped my PT business massively. Was get good quality content to make it stand out more instead of just on a phone. The phones
it makes a massive difference.
The phones these days are good, don't get us wrong, like it's good just to put on stories, but if you want to put it out on Facebook, that's my main platform for clients is Facebook, because that's the older generation platform. Instagram I get nothing. Like
it's a joke these days. We were saying this before.
Like you put that question box on, I got one reply, and that was from a friend, just going like just something stupid. But like honestly, that's why I didn't. But I was just like, I'll put it on, but I was like, I'm gonna get absolutely nothing. But Facebook is massively so. Like community pages help me out massively. So joining like your local community pages is absolutely fantastic. Recommend that to anyone. What we were saying, I'm going off topic again.
Where the passion for photography came from.
Yeah. So obviously my creative side of that helped my business massively. So I thought, but honestly, all my friends and family were like, why don't you try it and just make a little business out of it, even if it's just a bit of pocket money. And I was held off for ages. I was like, nah, like I don't want to become a job. And yeah, I think the more people that actually commented on my quality of content was kind of spurred me on. And I think I don't even know what made me do it, to be fair. Like recently, I think I did I think, yeah, I did a job for a gym who I also used to work at the first gym. I just did like a little gym shoot for him, and I was like, actually, I want to see if I can just maybe put this out there. So I opened up another business account, spoke to my accountant, and I just talked about like financial stuff with him, and he was just like, I'm not going to go into it, but yeah, just, and then kind of just sped on from there. And then I got my logo designed by the same guy that did my PT one, because my PT logo stayed the same since I've started. So so I got that put out there, and then just started posting. Honestly, I haven't even advertised still, and I'm getting inquiries through.
So what sort of photography are you doing now then? Is it still just gym stuff, or are you doing stuff outside of that as well?
So that was just like the odd one which I'm going to do, because I want my photography business to be completely non-gym related.
Okay.
Just because I spend a lot of time in the gym, so I was like, I don't want to be in another gym doing this. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, I don't want anything. Yeah. So if it's like an odd friend and stuff that wants footage, I'll be like, yeah, that's fine. Like I've got a photo shoot next week with the guy that works at Graft. He's doing like his photo shoots. So yeah, I'll do that for him because I'm local, and it saves him, and he likes my stuff. So I was like, that's fine. But other than that, I'm doing like a lot of property. So I'm just actually in the middle of doing some talks on surveying. So like I'm basically, instead of the guys getting scaffolds and up onto buildings, I'm going up with my drone and basically doing that job for them.
Oh, nice.
But that's also for the NHS, so they do this every single year where they go into the like hospitals and they basically look at all the roofs in the hospitals. But that's pretty much what my job's going to be doing over the next like 2 or 3 months, is to basically take the drone up, taking photos of all the roofs. But then I've also got to learn roofing as well, so I've got to learn all the different terminologies, the different angles of the roof. So he's given me loads of textbooks to learn roofing. So basically he's going to do like the first 5 houses with me, and then after that he's going to send me a checklist saying, look, I need you to go here and do this, and I can go by myself and actually get exactly what he wants, and it saves him a lot of money and we can both make money. So it's like, I'm excited for that. So I've done loads of different niches at the minute. So I've done like hospitality, I've done gym, I've done pets, property, and I think property is going to be probably my main focus.
I think I saw a video that you put up in a coffee shop or something recently.
Yeah, that was to help my last out. So I did that with Starbucks. That was actually with Starbucks as well. So I worked with her, and Starbucks hired me as well. So
was it the Starbucks you used to work in?
They were going to do it that one, but it needed to be a drive-through, so I had to go all the way to Hexham to like where my parents live up that way. So that would have been funny. I was like, "Ooh, back again."
They'd be like, "Oh God, Sean's back."
I know. There's that miserable idiot coming in again.
Don't put him on the drive-through for whatever you do.
So yeah, it's good. Like I think I can. Yeah, it's for someone who's just not even advertised it. Like I'm getting inquiries like left, right, and centre, which is really good. So
can't complain there, then, can you? Obviously, if you put a little bit of effort into advertising as well, you can probably get that split pretty easily.
I'm gonna probably go for it. But my girlfriend does horse riding. She does like show jumping and stuff. So I've done a lot of like horse, like what I think it's called like equestrian. It's like equestrian photography. That's also going to get some interest in summer. So I've got like a big job in the summer that comes to stables. I think there's like 8 different horses there, so I'm doing like all of it at the same time. So it's good, but I just think it's like you're just going to be a bit different. I think my photography comes across a little bit different to most photographers around here. Just the way I edit, the way I get different angles and stuff.
Mate,
so I think
some of the videos you've posted are class. Yeah,
they're getting better. I've just invested a lot of money over the last 4 months. I think I've invested about 6 or 7 grand just in photography stuff. But like I've took the risk. I was like, do you know what it is? I think I guarantee I'm going to make the money back.
Yeah.
Because I know I will. So it's like, but I didn't want to go into a job and think it was like half-arsed and like not as good quality. So I didn't want to sell myself and then not have the equipment. To do the job for. So I went, do you know what it is? I was going to take the hit. I want to get what I really need. And then it's quite funny because after what I buy, I'm like, right, that's it. I'm not buying anything else. And then next month, I'm like, oh, I want that. So it's, but the equipment I've got now is like absolutely fantastic. I've got a good, really good foundation of getting good stuff. So, but yeah, just getting out there.
Just going back to what you were saying before as well, like the difference in your content on your fitness is what helped grow that page. I've noticed recently so many people now are paying for photographers to get their content for them, and obviously, like you were saying before, like it's so hard to be different from anyone because everyone's doing the exact same thing now. Everyone's paying a photographer for, I don't know, a weekend or something. They get 200 pictures and they've got multiple videos, and literally all they do is post them like on a daily basis. And obviously, it's like that would have set you apart a couple of years ago before people were doing that. But now there's that many people out there getting this content done. It is, like you were saying, so hard to be different.
It's hard because there's that many people out there. There's that many that are exactly the same as you. Like, for instance, if loads of people turn around and they were all GP referrals, I'd be like, right, what can I do to be better than them?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, everyone's in competition with each other. Like, that's the end of the day. Yes, like, people do help each other out. Like, I've referred someone to someone else because I was like, I'm not entirely sure on what you're after, like strength and conditioning. Don't know really much about it, so I've given one of them to the lads at the gym. I was like, I'm not gonna lie, I don't really know. I'm not just getting you money. Do you know what I mean? So, which I think it does. If you refer to other people, then 9 times out of 10, said that again, they'll refer you. Like, do you know what I mean? They refer their clients to you if they're fully booked, or do you know what I mean? So there is certain ways where you do help each other out, but at the end of the day, like, you're a business at the end of the day, and you've got to, like, clients want to come to you for help. So
I've done it plenty of times with clients. If they've asked me a question and I'm not 100% sure and answer it, but I know there's someone that's made a video that explains it, I'll show them the video. I'll be like, so and so's got this video, here you go, watch that. Like, it explains it better than I can. And I think you've got to have just that honesty, haven't you? Really.
Even now, like, when my clients were saying, oh, I've got like a dodgy foot, like, I don't know what this is, and I was like, I've looked and I was like, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know too much about it to actually give you exactly what it is. I'm not a doctor. Like, yes, I've done my GP stuff, but I learn the very, very basics of it. It's fitness related, not like, do you know what I mean? So I've said, look, I'll go away and do some research on it for you, and I can give you some advice. But I said I would rather you go to a physio.
It's not just that, like, a foot is so complex in general anyway.
Exactly. I was like, yes, I do know a little bit about it, and I know, like, maybe down to flexibility, but when it comes to actual, like, bones and stuff like that, I don't know.
There's so much going on down there. Like.
That's what your physios are for. Like, that's what they're specialised in. Like, they wouldn't know what we do sometimes, but it's like...
Well, it's like I've posted stuff about my knee before, like, and I've had questions going, George, what should I do on this? And I'm like, I've been through knee rehab twice, but I've had scans and everything. I know what's up with my knee. That might not necessarily work for yours. Like, I can suggest things that I've done that I've been told, obviously, by my physios in the past. But I said, you've got to go and get an MRI and get that checked out because it could be worse or it could be not as bad.
Yeah.
So,
You got to listen to the professionals.
Yeah, exactly. They get paid for it for a reason. So
yeah.
So how do you manage to balance both the photography and the PT at the moment?
It's hard, man. It's really hard, especially like when my mind's a little bit more in photography at the minute. This is why I've got a few people leaving over the next like 2 months, just for different reasons. I've replaced one, but then I'm at the point now where I'm like, I'm just gonna kind of not replace the other one that's gonna leave. I'm just gonna try and focus on the photography side. So at the minute I'm like full on, especially at the end of the week. So I book my clients through Google Calendar, and I've got two gyms I work at and a photography business. So I've got to make everybody happy. Yeah. So I'm at the semi-private gym every Wednesdays and Fridays and sometimes Saturdays, but every other day I'm at the private gym. Yeah. So I've got to get, especially evenings, everyone inquires, they're like, oh, I want a 5 o'clock, and I'm like, I need someone who's at midday. But other than that, it's like, so trying to balance everything is really hard, but I've got the attitude where, like, I can't stop. Like, I cannot stop working. Like, I absolutely love it. I've got a holiday coming up in 3 weeks, and I'm literally texting my mum to say that I'm all right. and then I'm literally leaving my phone in my suitcase. Like, every other day, I'll just text my mum and dad saying, look, like, I'm not dead. I'm
still alive.
So, but other than that, honestly, I'm not even going to bring my headphones or nothing. Like, I'm not listening to a bit of music through my head, through my ears. Just because I'm in a gym, I'm constantly like, doof, doof, doof. When I'm going to train, headphones are in, doof, doof, all the time. So when I go on holiday, like, I'm not doing anything. I'm actually going to read a book.
And then you hit the club and all you are, doof, doof, doof.
Oh no, my next day I used to be ringing the same thing, yeah. But no, I'm going on this holiday just to absolutely relax. Like we've picked like a really nice hotel, like 5-star, all inclusive,
nice.
on the Greek beach. So like I can't wait. Like it's in like just over 2 weeks now. So I'm looking forward to just doing nothing. I did the mistake when I went to Palma with my best mate last year, and I was like, Palma, great, because he probably loves the drinks. I went, Palma, fantastic. There's nowhere to drink there. Only found out 2 nights in, Magaluf Strip was like a 5 out of 5 minute taxi journey. So every day we're at bloody Magaluf Strip, man. So this time I've made sure that the hotel is away from like all the strips. So
the only thing is though, you've got all inclusive, so
I don't mind getting drunk by the pool, but I can't be bothered with like nightlife. I can't be bothered. I want to go out and just enjoy it. Do you know what I mean? So,
have you checked whether they have like a hotel club? Some of them have clubs these days.
No, I've checked.
Yeah.
Adults only. There's a bit of like Ibiza music in the background, but that's literally about it.
It's not too bad then. Yeah, be good. Very nice.
But yeah, trying to juggle them both is like, it's hard, but I love it. Like, absolutely love it.
You've just got to plan your calendar out, haven't you? Like, I've posted a couple of times this week because I've heard people saying, I just don't have enough time to go to the gym, and I'm like, right, I screenshotted my calendar. I was like, that's me. I plan my week out every single week. I know what I've got on when. I know where I'm got a podcast, and I know where I'm working out, what I'm working out. I know when I've got a course after work. Everything's in there, so it's not hard if you allocate time.
I just think this way, I'm self-employed. Like, I could be absolutely like dead. I could have no clients.
Yeah.
This is why I never ever complain of how busy I am, because like at the end of the day, like I'm lucky with people are paying me a lot of money to train them. So this is why I wake up and I'm like, I don't care how busy I am. Yes, it's tiring, but it's like I'm very, very lucky. Like, I've worked my absolute socks off to get where I am. So like I'm never complaining that I'm like, ugh. Like, yes, I wake up sometimes I'm like, I'm absolutely knackered, but I never go to work. I never go to work like complaining, like ever do.
It's the way to be, mate.
Yeah, but like I said, I'm just really lucky with how many people I've got. Do you know what I mean? I'm not really busy. Like, I'm not like 40 hours a week, because I find anything over 35 hours of PT is like, it's tough. Like, that's a lot of people. Because with me,
it's a lot of reps to count.
So a lot of reps to count, and I can't count over 10. So I'm knackered me like. So it's I think anything over, like, if you got like 10 plus clients, like, you're doing well. But if if you've got like 20 clients, it's just too much. Like, you're not focusing on that individual person. Like, they're just a number at the end of the day. So I kind of stick between like 15 to 20 in that rep range, in that number. So it's
yeah, mate. I wouldn't even say you were lucky. You've obviously put the work in, so luck doesn't just happen. You've put the work in, you've put the hours in, and you've built it up. So I wouldn't necessarily be saying you were lucky, but you're obviously doing things that other people haven't done, which is why they don't stick around for very long.
You've just got to be a bit selfish as well. Like, you just got to think about yourself if you want, especially self-employed. Like, you just got to think about yourself a lot more. Like, like I moved out. Like, I didn't ditch my family, but I didn't move out like planned. You know what I mean? I just went, I can't do it anymore. Like, past girlfriends and stuff, I just went. That's why that didn't work, because I was so focused on this is what I want to do. I'm not going to get into it, but it's
let's leave that.
But this is what I'm saying. You've got to be a bit selfish, and you've got to think about yourself if you really want to like do well. Because I think relationships, especially do, like, they're a full-time job. You know what I mean? So you've got to think about them, which is like, it's only fair. But
it's not just that. You've got to have a social side to your life as well. It's not just relationships. You've got to have time for yourself.
Which. Yeah, like, I don't really do much myself. Like, I constantly want to do work. That's why photography, like, I love it because it is a hobby. Like, every little spare time, I love editing photos. Like, I love editing videos, and I love like I just done a job for a construction site yesterday, and I just loved it because it was 6 lads, and it was just good crack. I was taking photos and videos of them.
I can imagine.
And I was like, but I was climbing up roofs yesterday, man, and I was just like,
they're not one of these builder TikTok accounts, are they? They do all the videos.
Oh no, like, they're like a standard like builder. You know, like, they've got like builder crack. Where they're just
probably stuff that get you cancelled these days.
Pretty much, yeah. Like, they take the piss out of you all the time. So when I said I was scared of heights, they were like, "Get up there now!" Like, and I was like,
you just shaking with your camera.
Oh mate, I was terrible. I had to put my shutter speed like really high just so I don't get like the shake. But yeah, like it was good. It's good crack though. Like, and plus it gets me mind away from the gym as well, because
Yeah, definitely. It's good to have something to mix it up, isn't
I
it?
spend like 90% of my life in the gym. So getting outside and about, just taking photos of like lads,
Builders.
it's just builders, and it's funny. But yeah, photography. Like, I've got my mind pretty set on that at the minute. So I've got loads of things planned for it.
Nice.
So hopefully that might like kind of reduce my hours in the gym a bit, and then I could potentially make a hell of a lot more money doing photography than I can PT, just because I don't have the rent to pay on the photography money that I earn. So it's got to pay the lovely tax man.
It's not a bad person to have to pay though, is it?
Well,
no, we don't like paying
yes,
tax.
You could say no, yeah.
But paying more tax isn't a bad thing, because that means you're also earning more. So
that is very true. It's very true.
So
hang on, someone is ringing me. Where are you going? Can you still see me?
Yep, I can still see you.
There you go. Hi.
You're still there.
Put this on airplane mode.
So, Sean, where can everyone find you on social media?
It's just Sean Evans PT. So original, because what do I do for a living? PT. So that is it. And then my photography is just Sean Evans Photography.
Nice and simple.
Class. But
I'll get all the links below as well.
Them too.
Yeah,
took quite a while to think about them.
I can imagine. To be honest, I'm quite surprised both of them were free, because you've not got like a generic name, but it's not like a wild one, is it? With PT on the end and photography.
I love my PT name. Like, it's dead funny. Like, it just rolls off the tongue. It's quite nice.
Yeah,
I remember on nights out. Like, I remember back in the day when I used to go out. They were like, they didn't know my name. They just knew my Instagram handle. They're like,
Sean Evans PT.
You're Sean Evans PT, aren't you? I was like, Sean Evans PT. I think it just rolls off the tongue, so I've never changed it. But
don't blame me, right?
But yeah, I mean, what's your plans for the future? Are you kind of wanting to go into online coaching a bit more, or are you like, or is it just down to time really?
So yeah, timing's one of the main ones. So I got my new job last year, and then I started back up my accountancy exams, because I'd had a bit too much time off them, to be honest, and I just want to get them done now.
You have to pay a lot for them, don't you?
Well, the company's paying for them, but yeah, they're not cheap. They're not cheap at all.
One of my clients, she's just done our exams, and she had to pay like $2,000 or something for one. I was like, what? Yeah,
they're not cheap.
No.
I think I've gone onto like a new platform with it, so like I'm one of the first people to do this new scheme, but it suits me a lot better. So previously, I'd sign up for a course to do one exam. It'd take me like 2 or 3 months to do the course and then sit the exam. Yeah. So that'd be for each one. Whereas now, you basically do the 3 exams on like a kind of like a semi-coursework basis. So I have like online classes twice a week, or once a week it was at the time, it's now 2. And then you go away and do like mini tests online. So it suits me a lot better, because I can do it as and when. So, and then I just have the case study at the end. So I've got a case study in May. So basically I've signed up for this thing for 2 years. I'm probably not going to need it, to be honest, because I'm aiming for November case study, and then I'll be done. But for these 2 years, it's cost like just over $5,000.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Mad.
Not nice. But
even these PT courses, man, these are expensive now.
Yeah. I can imagine. I get like emails through for them all the time, like offers and stuff, and I'm like, even with that discount, it's still, you're talking like $1,000 for a level 4 nutrition course.
That's it. I was quite lucky in a way, because they want the face-to-face one. What do you call them? Like a course. What do you call them? Like a
face-to-face courses.
Yeah,
in-person.
In-person courses. Yeah, it just doesn't sound right. Yeah, that was like their first like intake. So they knocked like £1,000 off. So I only paid it was like £1,000, but I had to pay in like 4 different installments, because it was like a 12-week course. Which I was like, yeah, absolutely sound. So
they took this $5,000 straight in one hit. Luckily, it was on the corporate credit card. I had to get it expensed, though. I was like, that expense is coming straight through, because basically what happens is I might put it through on my corporate Amex card, but then what happens is I put my expenses through, it gets paid into my normal bank account, and then goes through to the credit card on a direct debit. So I was like, I'm not having $5,000 come out of my personal money without that expense going through first.
No.
So there's that, and then obviously I let my PT naturally just die down a little bit whilst I started the new job and all the exams again, because I had a few people that were leaving anyway, just for they didn't need me anymore. I'd done my job with them, sort of thing.
Is this in person, or have you just all done it online?
No, always done online. Like I did
Online,
consider doing like maybe even if it was like 1 or 2 people a week or something, but
yeah,
there's not really any decent private gyms, I don't think, around ours. And then also it's the timing thing for me. Like I've got my own training to do after work and things, and it'd probably be a little bit too much. So I let it die down, sort of leading up to going back into my exams. I also decided to sign up for a triathlon last year and a half marathon for whatever reason, I don't know. Imagine trying to run a half marathon at 16.5 stone. It's not really ideal at all.
I couldn't run this to save my life.
Not ideal, but got all that going on, and then I was like, I really want to start the podcast again because I enjoy just sitting here and speaking to people and getting different stories from people and talking about interesting topics. So I was like, I really want to get that going again, and also PT at the same time because I'm sort of settled into my job. I know what I've got on. I'm pretty good with sort of work-life balance as well. Like I'm not one of those people that is like 4 o'clock, I'm done. It's like I try and aim for 4 o'clock, and if it goes over, if it has to, then I'm quite flexible with it. But yeah, it's a time thing more than anything. I've got capacity to take on a couple of clients now. Sort of 5 or maybe a couple more is like a sweet spot. Like I don't like taking on too many. Just from a timing aspect, I want to be able to give each person like a decent experience. Obviously, like you were saying before, they're paying money at the end of the day, so I don't want to take on like 10, 15, 20 clients and be like, I don't have enough time for you, and you just get like a crap experience. So I want to be able to
not giving the best service, are you?
Yeah, exactly. So I like to keep it around 5 to 7 or 8. Like it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's enough. You've got check-ins to do every week and things like that. So
especially with a full-time job as well, like you've got you've got a full-time wage, so you don't really like need the online.
Oh no, I don't.
Like that's just like same with me. That was like when I did my PT, I was like, it's just a little bit of pocket money on the side which can pay.
It's paid for holidays and things.
Your car, your holidays and stuff. Yeah, so
I have it just sitting in a Monzo account, and then I go on holiday and I use that for spends.
I can invest into like more podcast stuff, or can invest into more like train like your mics and stuff, which I've just realised you've just bought, have you?
I got those Rode mics, so I was like, I'm going to be one of those people that speaks in the gym, and then, because I'd literally just moved into a new gym, mainly, not just for content, it's a bit quieter, it's a decent setup, and the lighting's so much better than JD, but it's just not full of little helmets, like in JD, honestly, mate. So,
I've stopped going there now, like.
Oh, it was a nightmare, it's just full of kids that don't have a clue what they're doing, and I'm like, I could go up to them and ask them, like, do they need help, and it's like, they're going to be little idiots at the end of the day, like especially the kids around ours, they just don't care. So I just got fed up with going in the gym after work and it being absolutely rammed. So I tried this new one out, and it's so much better. Like I say, it's quieter, the lighting's so much better, and they're actually like pro filming. So like they actually dot some tripods around like the actual gym. Yeah, so it makes it really easy. So I was just like, because I literally hogged one for a whole session. I was like, other people probably want to use this, I'll just bring my own one in from now on. And I got those little mics because quite a lot of my content, even from early on, was based on form. Like I'm so much more form based than actually lifting heavy weights. Like if you see me in the gym, I'm not lifting light weights, but for the size of me, you'd probably think, he lifts way heavier than.
You don't need to go heavy, like.
No, not at all. But
this is the number one thing I say to my clients when they come in. I was just like, I don't care if it takes you 4 months to learn how to do an exercise. Like, I'm not pushing you through it. Like, if it takes you ages just to try and retract your scapula, we'll just spend every week trying to do this every week until you go, that's how you do it. That's it. Boom. Yeah. I'd rather them being safe than them having a messed up back, especially with the clients that I've got. They've got quite like public sector jobs, so like nurses, police. So I don't want them damaging them back for them to go to work and they can't do their job. Especially in the public sector, because they're important people. So like I don't want to ruin their back or do something to them. Yes, you can't stop an injury if it happens. Do you know what I mean? But as long as you know that they're lifting correctly,
freak things happens.
Anything can happen. Like I hurt my back like a few months ago by putting a plug in a plug socket to Hoover. I haven't bloody hoovered since, me. Like I'm not doing it anymore. Like
just dust everywhere around.
It's just dust. It's got that thick now. but I can squat again.
Yeah, that's the main thing.
So honestly, it was just weird. I put my plug in the plug slot and I stood and I was like, oh my god, what the hell have I just done? I couldn't walk, man, for a week.
Bloody hell.
It's horrible. So, but yeah, anything can happen. So in that perspective, you can't change that. But as long as you're lifting correctly and you're not doing things stupid, then
that's it, mate. Form's everything. So that's why I got those mics, so I can do more form videos and actually speak whilst I'm doing it. Because and I've got my camera and everything now, so the quality's better, the mics are better, everything. I'd prefer to reach like 50 people on Instagram doing videos like that than the viral stuff and hitting 5,000 people. Like, if I can help a couple of people out with a few bits of form, then that makes me happier.
Yeah. Form's a big one, especially I find with lads they go too heavy. I find with lasses they go too light.
Yeah,
like
massively,
especially with that pull down, it's like I can see the wire moving as they're bringing it down. I'm like, that's just too light, man. Yeah. And you get loads of lads like range of motion.
Just ego lifting, isn't it?
It is, because like if they're on their own, I've noticed they're not bad. Like I've kept an eye out on a lad at JD, and he's actually not bad on his own. He came with these groups of friends the other day, just trying to get everything up. I was like, mate, man, how I grow up, man. Like, but we've all been there though. Like, you wanna be the strongest lad. Like that's just males in
lad
general.
mentality, isn't it?
It is high. That's why we don't last as long.
Yeah, the trick's to get the most out of the lightest weight possible, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
I think we'll wrap this one up. I think we've had a good chat. It's been good to speak to you as well after a while.
I know. You probably can't get in touch with us again for a while.
I know.
I'm not being rude. It's just like I look at it and I'm like, and then I'm off somewhere. But I know it's not an excuse. Like, but
don't worry about it. We'll have to get a session in again soon.
Yeah, but I think I'll be going down to where are you from again? Leeds, like that
near
area.
Liverpool.
Liverpool. Where's that?
Well,
Leeds.
just outside. Well, you've got Leeds one side, you've got Liverpool the other.
Yeah.
And Manchester in between.
But yeah, I think about going down there just to try out a gym, just for the crack. But
give us a shot. I might be able to come over.
Yeah.
If it's especially if it's on a weekend. Obviously, I'm working throughout the week. But give me a shout.
Absolutely. But yeah, hopefully I've covered everything. Like, hopefully I haven't blabbed on too much, or I haven't made sense.
It was good. It's good. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. But yeah, cool.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
No worries.
Like I said before, I'll get all your links and everything for your socials in the link below. Thank you to everyone listening. If you got this far, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you drop a like, and if you're new, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.
Bosh.